Hi, I'm Lisa Even, founder of Even Connection Leadership. As I thought about this moment and how to prepare, I started jotting down things about my background and accomplishments. I started piecing them together, and after a bit of time, I realized I had plenty of buzzwords that sounded really nice, an appropriate amount of leadership jargon, and one very predictable speech. I kept thinking, what is the best way to reinforce my company's mission and my belief in the power of connection? So in short order, I ripped up those notes and decided I would share 5 very brief, unrelated, yet life-changing moments that I've had in my life. At the end of me telling you about these 5 moments, I hope to make a few connections, quite literally, about the work that we do at Even Connection. Moment 1. I've been on big teams and small teams. I've been an individual contributor, a team leader with many direct reports, and multi-million-dollar budgets. I've also, in many of those instances, been the youngest leader in the room. And I can tell you, if I were to write a book about the leaders that I've met, I would say that too many of them were exhausted, burnt out, and dare I say it, ready to retire. I would hear comments like, I just need to write it out 5 more years and then I can retire. Or, I just need to sit in line long enough for my boss to retire and then I can move into that role. I would see 2 main groups in meetings, the seasoned leaders saying things like, we need to communicate more effectively, we need to create a plan, we've already tried that, that won't work. The younger leaders saying things like, we need to be innovative, what about this, could we try that? It was a mixture of old and new, tired and energetic, coexisting but not blending together. Moment 2. In high school, I worked as a waitress in a small cafe where I served coffee and breakfast to farmers, truckers, and retired businessmen, many of whom were 50 years older than me. I would hear things like, back in the day, or these days, kids do this, or what I know is. I would hear good advice and bad advice, and everything in between. They transferred knowledge to me. We built relationships, connections, and memories that I've carried throughout my life. When I look back on it, it's probably when I first learned to become a leader. Moment 3. I recently saw a video online where a woman says to her son, go like this and touch your chin. She does this 3 times, and finally, out of frustration, he realizes his error. Go like this and touch your chin. He was emulating her, I thought to myself. Without thinking, future generations begin to emulate. And good, bad, or otherwise, older generations pass down knowledge and transfer behavior. Moment 4. At the college I attended, there was a session that students and faculty could attend each year, where professors would give their last lecture as if it was their final day in the classroom, their final lesson. And some of those last lecture sessions were so moving that almost the entire crowd would be crying or laughing or feeling the pain, the wisdom, and ultimately the hope that the professor was imparting. It was as if the finality of the last lecture could ignite the entire room. I will admit it was a bit surreal. Imagine if we could create an environment for seasoned employees to share their wisdom, knowledge, and experience with younger team members and do it in a way that inspires them and brings their teams to tears. How powerful would that be? Moment 5. Recently, after moving back to Iowa from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and as a way to build my network in the Des Moines area, I interviewed 161 leaders from 33 industries. I asked each leader 5 questions about leadership: how they grew up in leadership, what advice they had to give, what keeps them up at night, what the next generation of leaders lack, and who contributed to their careers. There were 5 reoccurring themes in almost all of the interviews that I did: communication, trial and error, work ethic, mentorship, and lastly, their kids. They talked about decisions they had made for their families over the years, advice that they had given their kids, and the hopes and dreams for their futures. In a world where there's a whole lot of work to be done, look at our economy, politics, the environment, I ask you to consider how these stories make you feel about the connections and the learning that you've done throughout your life. In our careers, we have the opportunity to further create generational connectivity, emulation and knowledge transfer, improved process design, and leader development. And that's what we do at Even Connection. You're probably thinking I wasn't expecting a motivational speech, and it's a bit unorthodox for a new business ribbon cutting. but I encourage you to think about whether the people on your teams are burnt out, exhausted, struggling with change, maybe ready to share knowledge, ready to emulate, or maybe a good portion of them are staring down the final years of their career. Our team can help. The teams of people that we support and the individuals that we connect with are committed to getting the people and the process part of their organizations right. They are looking to strengthen relationships and breathe new life into their company's culture. I encourage you to visit our website, evenconnection.com, and follow us on social media. We would love to come to talk to your team for a lunch and learn, meeting, or conference. We would love to help build your leaders and build connection. We are Even Connection Leadership, and we're excited to be joining the Ankeny community. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, if you want to step in for the ribbon cutting. Bobby, grab the scissors there. All right, we're going to pose first with the scissors open. And on the count of 3, we're going to cut. Ready? 1, 2, 3.